Let's talk about something in the news. There's a lot of stuff in the news lately, but I always get excited when I see anything about human development or developmental psychology in the news. And so I would like to talk about infantile amnesia, which is also sometimes called childhood amnesia. Today, I saw two news articles talking about a new study having to do with this general phenomenon. So before I talk about the studies, I do have a video somewhere about this in my Teaching Developmental Psychology playlist. But if you don't know what it is, because I understand if you haven't seen every video I've ever made, have I seen every video I've ever made? I'm not sure. But what is this? So infantile amnesia is the phenomenon where we can't remember event-based, episodic, autobiographical stuff before age 3 or 4. Now, when I was a college student way back in the 1900s, I was taught that it was age 5. And then I've seen it go lower. I've seen people say age 4, and then the textbooks that I'm teaching from now, they'll say, well, no, not before age 3. So probably there's more evidence that they say, okay, well, sometimes it can be after that. But you don't have a lot of personal, autobiographical type memories before that time. Now, some people, they hear that. I've had students, I've had, friends of mine, they say, that's not true. I remember being a baby. You probably don't, unless you had a very unusual, tragic incident happen to you when you were very young. You probably don't. What you might be remembering is that you could be remembering pictures or videos that you've seen of the event or the occasion. You might remember family members or other people talking about the event, and you remember their recollections of the event, but you're not remembering the event directly. And I know it is difficult. People are hesitant to admit that their memories are not perfect, but human memory, if you don't know, human memory is highly infallible. We are not recording machines. We have all sorts of errors and mistakes. The stuff we remember is not a direct copy of what actually happened to us. But why do we have this? What explains the fact that, there's this time where we don't have these personal memories? I mean, you certainly learn things during that time. You learn to speak. You learn who the familiar people are in your home. You learn where your toy is kept in your room. I mean, you do learn things, but you don't have these personal memories. All right, so there has been research in this area, and it has talked about a few things, including the fact that the lack of language development may contribute, because we do communicate about our personal memories through words, through language. And before you have really sophisticated language development, it may make it difficult to represent those memories and to communicate about those memories, which can help you remember them. The other thing is that we have evidence that a sense of self-awareness, a sense of self, sense of you as an individual, that may contribute to this ability to form these personal memories. You have to have a sense of you as a separate individual person before you have memories tied to your experiences as a person. Now, let's talk about research about the brain. And this new research very much has to do with this. We're pretty sure that a huge component is that you have to wait until the brain is ready to store memories. And so there's a particular area of the brain called the hippocampus. Now, if you're a fan of Percy Jackson or Greek mythology in general, and you should certainly be a fan of Percy Jackson, not those first movies though. Okay. But if you're a fan of Percy Jackson, you may be aware that hippocampus means seahorse. All right. Well, it's a structure in the brain that kind of looks like a seahorse, so they gave it that name. But what does it do? It is strongly involved in memory storage. And so we have long suspected that probably you have to have a certain degree of maturation in the hippocampus before we can form these types of memories. And now this new research, it is published in the journal Science, and that's a big one. That is a highly reputable, peer-reviewed journal. I could not dream of publishing in Science. I get excited if I get to publish in a low-tier journal. That is not low-tier. That's the creme de la creme. creme de la creme. That's where the really good stuff gets published. And so research by Yates et al. Shows us that it's probably about memory encoding. What does that mean? Where we encode memories, it's storage. We code them, we store them, we have a representation of in the brain that we can access later. Can infants encode memories? Well, they did research using MRI, neural imaging. And so they had the babies do tasks in the MRI machine, and they had everything set up so it's, infant friendly. And what they found evidence that infants can encode memories, but they can't access them yet. So they get stored, but you don't have the access yet. So we still do have that evidence that infantile amnesia, it very much is a thing, unless we do have some evidence that if there's extreme trauma, that does other things that, can make a memory stick. But for most memories, you're not going to be able to store them and access them later until about 3 or 4, maybe even 5. So yeah, you probably don't remember being a baby. Folks, my little clicker. Okay, one of these days I'm going to do this right. I should edit this later, but I probably won't, because you need to know I'm an imperfect human just like you.